The NFL has been the pinnacle of sports entertainment for several decades now and brings in billions of dollars every season. However, in recent years, the NFL has lost some viewership and money due to a lack of fan interest. While it's extremely unlikely for the NFL to completely disband, the NFL is trending in the wrong direction and something needs to be done before it becomes too late and the public outcry becomes too much for the league to handle. Welcome back to our channel, and today we're going to be going over a few reasons why the NFL is getting boring. Sit back and enjoy. First up, what isn't a penalty? The NFL used to be known for bone-crushing hits and devastating blows on both sides of the ball. It is what helped the NFL rise in popularity in the 70s and 80s. However, due to some recent studies showing the damage that several concussions can do to the brain over time, specifically CTE, the NFL has tried to protect their players to prevent this. Yet in the process, the NFL has gotten to a point where nearly everything is penalized for roughing or unsportsmanlike conduct. Some fans have started to say that the NFL is becoming the National Flag Football League due to all the ridiculous penalties. The game has essentially been taken over by officiating and penalties, which is the worst thing that can happen for any major pro sport. Once officials take control of the game, more and more fans stop watching the sport due to the excess of penalties. Trying to protect your players is absolutely the right move by the NFL and should be done by every league with pro athletes. However, the NFL needs to find a balance between protecting players and going overboard with the flags. Otherwise, it could be a couple very long seasons for the NFL and its fans. Next up, everything is considered taunting. Building off of the incredible amount of penalties that are called, the NFL recently cracked down on taunting this past season. And boy oh boy, it was ever a disaster. There were a total of 61 taunting penalties called in the 2021 season alone. The league went back and agreed on 56 of those calls. Yet there were several penalties that ended up costing players and entire teams the game in crunch time situations. Not to mention, there were several times where fans believed that there could have been a taunting penalty on the play, only there for to be no flag thrown. Similar to when the NFL cracked down on touchdown celebrations a few years ago, all that this move did was hinder a player's ability to express themselves on the field. Not only does taunting help bring entertainment and a fun factor to the sport, it also shows intense passion for the game and can help players build their personal brand. Taking that away to try and have players play the game the right way just drives down viewership and engagement from the younger crowds. You want to see your favorite players show their emotion on the field, especially when they're playing the game that they love so much. But when you take away the passion and heart from the game, it starts to look more and more like the NFL is just trying to sell a product fit for a small margin of people. Players are not allowed to express themselves in a personal manner. Colin Kaepernick was a perfect example of that. Whereas in the NBA, personal expression and identity is celebrated and encouraged throughout the league. This just shows to prove that the league is out of touch with today's day and age of football, and that the owners and general managers around the league don't really seem to care about their athletes or their fans. Next up, suspensions are severely inconsistent. There have been many players throughout the history of the league who have been suspended or have done something suspension-worthy. For the most part, the NFL has done an adequate job of suspending said players for at least a few games. Yet, that's also the issue. The NFL recently just gave Calvin Ridley a 1-year suspension for gambling on games that he wasn't even playing in. But Deshaun Watson was originally only given a 6-game suspension despite there being 24 allegations of sexual assault or misconduct against him. Now, luckily, the NFL has appealed the suspension and asked for an indefinite suspension that lasts for at least a year. While this is a step in the right direction, the NFL still has a lot of work to do and a lot of people to apologize to. Josh Gordon has been suspended 6 times over the course of his career for substance abuse and the use of alcohol. Yet players like Ray Rice only got suspended for 2 games after a video leaked of him knocking his girlfriend unconscious and dragging her out of an elevator. Tyreek Hill didn't even get suspended after he allegedly abused his child. The NFL has been so concerned about players not abusing the drug policy or to try and take performance-enhancing drugs that they've completely disregarded the several disgusting acts unrelated to football by current and former players. Fans around the league have taken notice of this as well. Fans of the Browns, as well as other teams around the league, have voiced their disdain and the NFL's refusal to appeal the suspension to Deshaun Watson, until they finally appealed it on the last day that they could. If the NFL wants to continue to be a top sports league and form of entertainment, they need to put morals in front of money and making power. Otherwise, several thousands of fans will most likely drop the sport. Next up, the NFL does not appeal to the younger generations. Now, this isn't to say that the NFL doesn't attempt to cater to the younger generation. NFL Play 60 has done a pretty respectable job of helping kids love the game of football. Yet because of how much research and data has come out about the long-term injuries that the sport can cause, parents around the nation have become more and more hesitant to get their kids involved in the brutal sport. But it's not just about the kids who want to play the sport. The NFL doesn't market the game to the young kids nearly as well as some of the other pro sports leagues. The NHL has several people on social media who try to cater to the young audiences, and the Toronto Maple Leafs even have a game dedicated to the kids called the Next Generation Game. The NBA has found a way to keep kids involved in the sport, mostly by allowing their players to have their own personalities and allowing them to express themselves on social media, which in turn makes the younger audiences more attracted to certain players or teams based on off-court performances rather than on-court ones. Even Formula One, of all the pro sports leagues, has done a remarkable job catering to the younger crowd. The majority of Formula One teams put out little fun videos where their drivers will participate in a fun game, a Q&A, or even a behind the scenes of what goes down on race day. Plus, the official Formula One YouTube account has a series called Grill the Grid, which allows fans to watch every driver compete in a game, and you get to see the more personal side of each driver. The most notable thing that the NFL has done to cater to the young audiences was the release of NFL Rush Zone, a TV series that was released in 2010 and aired for 3 seasons. Since then, the NFL has essentially abandoned anything directed towards kids until a few seasons ago they started showing NFL playoff games on Nickelodeon. Hopefully, the NFL will continue to broadcast on Nickelodeon in hopes that they can keep the younger generation attracted to the sport. If things do go well with Nick, it would be nice to see the NFL try to expand to other kids' networks such as Cartoon Network. The more ways that the NFL can try to connect with the younger generations, the better. Maybe this could finally spell out a reboot for a kid favorite in NFL Rush Zone. Obviously, it would be a lot more noticeable of a decrease in viewership and fan interaction for the NFL to consider it a problem. Yet given the trends as of late within the league, it wouldn't be surprising to see a major drop in support of the league as a whole. The NFL needs to take a step back and seriously reevaluate what they are as a league. Not only has there been a lot of on-field drama with the increase in penalties along with the extremely strict taunting penalty, but the off-field drama has been the main center of attention in the last several months. The current state of the NFL basically hinges on how the Deshaun Watson suspension will finally play out, and if that appeal falls through, there will be a massive outcry around the league. If that happens, viewership will go from slightly dropping to absolutely plummeting, which is the very last thing that the NFL can afford right now. But with that, that's all the time that we have for today's video, so thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to smash that like button, subscribe to our channel, and ring that notification bell so that you never miss another video. Thanks again, and we'll see you guys next time.